The sky was heavy with gray clouds that morning, casting long shadows across the schoolyard. The kind of day where even laughter feels muted, where the air carries a weight that most ignore, but not Valentina Shevchenko. She felt it deep inside. It wasn't the weather pressing down on her heart. It was something heavier. Something that had followed her for months. Valentina sat alone on the wooden bench near the basketball court, her backpack clutched tight to her chest, her eyes fixed on the cracks in the pavement. Children ran past her, chasing after each other with shrieks of joy, their sneakers squeaking against the wet ground. To them, the day was ordinary. But for Valentina, ordinary no longer existed. Every step she took on campus came with the dread of what was waiting for her. You see, Valentina wasn't weak. She wasn't fragile. She wasn't the shy girl everyone thought she was. In truth, she was stronger than even she realized. At home, her life was disciplined, structured, filled with early mornings of martial arts practice before dawn. Her mother had raised her on principles of respect, patience, and resilience. The greatest battles, her mother always told her, are the ones fought inside, between your anger and your peace. But at school, none of that seemed to matter. All they saw was a girl who kept to herself. A girl who rarely spoke. A girl who walked with her head slightly lowered, as though trying to disappear into the crowd. And to the bullies, that made her the perfect target. The bullies. There were 4 of them, 3 boys and 1 girl. Together, they formed a cruel little pack, feeding off one another's laughter and daring one another to push the limits of meanness. Jason, the tallest, was their leader. Loud, brash, always desperate for attention. He came from a broken home, but instead of finding healing, he found control in making others feel small. Mark, his shadow, was less confident, but laughed the loudest whenever Jason humiliated someone. He was the kind who bullied not out of cruelty but out of fear of being the next target. Ryan, the smallest, was the troublemaker. What he lacked in size, he made up for with a sharp tongue, always ready with a cutting insult. And then there was Amber, a girl with a cruel smirk who often instigated the torment with whispers and rumors. She enjoyed watching others squirm under her words. To them, Valentina was entertainment. It started small, books knocked off her desk, whispered insults as she passed by, mocking the way she spoke. But as weeks turned into months, it became relentless. Rumors about her family spread. Lunch trays accidentally spilled on her. Lockers slammed shut just as she tried to reach inside. Valentina endured it all with silence. Her classmates noticed but looked away. Nobody wanted to risk becoming the next victim. Women warriors, queens, women standing tall against storms. It was Amara's private world laid bare for everyone to see. Riley picked up one and laughed. Look, she draws herself as some kind of superhero. Pathetic. Then it happened. Riley stepped forward, grabbed Amara by the collar, and shoved her against the wall. The courtyard went silent. Students froze. Some pulled out their phones to record. Everyone was waiting for Amara to cry, to beg, to collapse. But what happened next shocked everyone. The transformation. Amara's eyes locked onto Riley's. For the first time, she didn't look away. There was fire in her gaze, a storm long suppressed but now unleashed. With surprising strength, Amara grabbed Riley's wrist and twisted it off her collar. Riley gasped, stumbling backward. Amara stepped forward, her voice steady, strong, and louder than anyone had ever heard before. Don't you ever touch me again. Her words cut through the courtyard like thunder. For the first time, the bullies looked uncertain. Amara didn't stop there. She bent down, gathered her sketches with calm precision, and stood tall. Then, with her voice carrying across the entire courtyard, she said, "You laugh at me because I'm quiet. But you mistake silence for weakness. You think my skin makes me less. But I carry the strength of generations in it. You can mock me, you can try to break me, but you will never define me. I define me." The crowd erupted. Some students cheered. Others gasped in disbelief. The bullies stood frozen, unsure of what to do. Riley, red with humiliation, muttered something under her breath and stormed off. But Amara had already won. The aftermath. News of the confrontation spread across the school. Suddenly, Amara wasn't invisible anymore. Students came up to her, not with mockery, but with respect. Some even apologized for standing by in silence all those months. Teachers noticed her strength. And for the first time, Amara felt seen. That night, she opened her sketchbook and drew herself, not as a queen, not as a warrior, but simply as Amara. Because she had realized she didn't need to become anyone else to be powerful. She already was. The resolution and message. Amara's story teaches us something vital: silence is not weakness. Kindness is not cowardice. And when pushed to the edge, even the quietest soul can roar like a lion. The bullies didn't just awaken her voice. They awakened her strength. And in doing so, they taught everyone a lesson they'd never forget: never underestimate the quiet ones. Call to action for viewers. If Amara's story inspired you, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below, tell me if you've ever been underestimated, or if you've faced bullies in your own life. Your voice matters, and your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear it today.